You fake Resident Evil fans continue to lose on a daily basis. You know, let me ask you fake Resident Evil fans this. How does it feel to be a part of the Losers Club? It must be incredibly sad. Here we are, yet again, folks, pushing really hard and really strong, more so than ever, now in the face of adversity, to say, hey, Capcom, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 quite clearly isn't on the wrong track. I'm your host, world-class veteran video game critic. Joining me once again, a real Resident Evil fan, Dylan. And we have a lot to break down here today throughout the course of this live internet television show. And folks, some really tragic, unfortunate things have occurred since we last had this live internet television show. Dylan, I have been seemingly blocked from the official Resident Evil Twitter. They have blocked me.
Well, you know, I didn't believe it when I seen it, but once you actually showed me, I can't believe it.
It's incredibly sad.
Somebody hates you.
Because I'm exposing them. I'm exposing the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, and they quite clearly are afraid. You know, we have impact on here, and I'll tell you what, folks, we are going to continue to push really hard and really strong despite that, because we really have to wake up the fake Resident Evil fans so that they can wake up and smell the coffee, you know? You guys want to sit there and go, oh, Mackle, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 was Capcom's home run? No, it wasn't Capcom's home run. And quite clearly, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 isn't going to be Capcom's home run as well. I mean, here we are, Valentine's Day. You would have thought that they would have at least had a little Jill Valentine teaser to go inside with Valentine's Day. But again, here we are. You know, the game comes out early April. We only have 30 or so seconds worth of gameplay. If that's not a red flag, then bro, I don't know what is. We have to see more of this game. We have more gameplay, literally, of Cyberpunk 2077, of Avengers, of Last of Us Part 2, of all of these games, Final Fantasy Remake, than we do this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I'm starting to think that the real game is Project Resistance, and the Jill Valentine Nemesis portion, the single-player portion of the game, is just, maybe it was DLC for this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. And it's seemingly on the back burner. I mean, I think they're so afraid to show this off, and we're going to get right into it, folks. So, with that said, if you're just joining us, blocked on Twitter from the official Resident Evil page. And it is really so sad.
You know, it's indicative of where this franchise has gone. I can't believe they would block you. Someone who's not a threat, someone who wants to provide the truth to the fans. They're blocking the truth. They said, fake news, and you're the real news. This is bonkers, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm probably not going to buy another Resident Evil title again. I mean, I grew up with this franchise, and basically, they're saying, frick you. You know, screw your support throughout the years. You don't matter. Just because I'm critical. You know, that's the thing, Dylan. We're not haters. We don't come on here and hate. We're critical because we care.
Yeah.
You know, we want to see this in a better spot than it currently is today. And apparently, you're not allowed to be critical. You know, they just block you. They say, oh, you're a hater. See you later. Thanks for the years of support. Actually, no thank you. You know what I mean? It's a spit in the face. Dude, I was there. I bought Shinji Mikami's remake on GameCube. I remember buying that. You know, the last Resident Evil game I bought when it was, you know, probably that game, to be frank. I mean, I didn't buy Resident Evil 7. I didn't buy this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. I didn't buy Resident Evil 6. I didn't buy Resident Evil 5. I didn't buy Resident Evil 4. You know, some of those games I traded them in and then someone else gave them to me or what have you, but I didn't actually go out and spend my hard-earned money on those games. But quite clearly now that, you know, Capcom said this, well, they can go kiss my ass, to be frank. And whoever's in charge of this page, they can go fuck themselves too. That's the reality of the situation. This is retardism. That's all I can say about that. So yeah, blocked on Twitter for really nothing. All I did was tweet them like 3 times and I said delay the game. Because quite clearly the game needs to be delayed. You know, there's no beating around the bush there. You know, and we'll show you the cracks in a moment. The game definitely needs to be delayed. But, you know, you don't care. You never have and you never will because you were too busy going... too busy doing stupid, silly crap like that at the end of the day is going to get you nowhere. This is inexcusable, it's disgusting, and it shows that they actually care about what we're saying. That's the funny part about it. They actually care. They had to go and find my Twitter. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I was tweeting them every day and saying, oh, this sucks. No, I tweeted them maybe 3 times three times in 3 months. So once every month I tweeted them, and I said delay the game. That's all I said. It wasn't like, well, screw you, Capcom sucks, and all that. No. So obviously someone's offended. Someone's, jealous, I think, that we have a say. You know, we're coming out of the woodwork and we're saying, you know what, these fake Resident Evil fans, we need to give them a reality check. They need to wake up and smell the coffee. So that's the reality of it, folks. Blocked on Twitter. And it is unfortunate, but like I said, if that's how they want to be, if that's the game they want to play, then I'm not going to give them my hard-earned money. You know what I mean? Because quite frankly, they don't deserve it. They just spit in my face. It's like meeting a celebrity. You idolize the celebrity for years. You meet him, and he's a dick. It changes your whole perspective. And now that Resident Evil, they don't want me to be a part of the franchise. They don't want me to support their product anymore. Well, that's fine. I won't support it. It's just. It stinks a little bit, sure, but at the end of the day, if that's how they want to be over people that actually care, and if they want to treat us real Resident Evil fans like garbage, then, that's incredibly sad.
Well, it's kind of shocking to me because I've heard any publicity is good publicity, man. You've been saying Resident Evil.
Well, we're not haters. I don't know who is looking at these videos and saying, oh, Michael, you're a hater. Oh, Michael this, oh, Michael that. It's like, dude, we're brutally critical because we care. That's the reality of the situation. And we will be taking Skype calls again a little bit later on, but I want you to know, again, if you're just tuning in, blocked on Twitter from the official Resident Evil. I think some broad over at Resident Evil, I'm not going to name her name, but I looked up and she blocked me too, so I'm pretty sure she runs this page as well. And I just find it's funny, but it also stings as well. It's like, really, guys, let's grow up. You can't take the heat, so they just say, you're out the door. And it's like, dude, they just want everyone to chill. They want everyone to sit there and say, this is nothing but sunshine and rainbows. We're exposing this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, not because we're hating, but because we care. I don't know how they can't see that. Nonetheless, speaking of this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, here we are, folks. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, we're going back because we have to continue to say, you know what? The lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they quite clearly didn't hit that home run. Now, I know you guys are going to sit there and say, oh, Michael, you're nitpicking here, buddy. No, I'm not nitpicking. Here's the reality of the situation. Look, you can't shoot the zombies through the gate. They don't really react. They don't die. They don't do anything, In the old original Resident Evil 2 from 1998, you can shoot them, and as you will see, they freaking go down. What an incredible detail, and that is nowhere to be found here in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 because it's a testament to how the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, how they had that ball, but they dropped it as they were approaching the end zone, and their pants fell down as well. Such an embarrassing moment for Capcom. But I know the fake Resident Evil fans are talking down below, oh, Michael, you're so wrong. Oh, Michael, who cares about the zombies behind the gate? This is literally a thing in the original, as you can quite clearly see. It's a thing. It was a nice little detail in the original. But obviously, the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they've never played the original game. You know what I mean? Otherwise, that would have been added. It would have been a nice callback. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, that's whack, dude. I remember when I was a kid, I would turn around and waste my bullets shooting the zombies, and they'd go down. And this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, it's like, there is no Raccoon City anymore. It's completely deleted.
A pure black. There's literally nothing behind the zombies. Nothing at all.
Bro, this is shit on the bottom of my shoe, man. This is... It's... How hard is it to code? How fucking hard is it to make those zombies at least go down? Let alone see Raccoon City back there. Like, come on, man.
But that's the thing. If I were at Clueless Capcom, if I were a lazy dev over at Clueless Capcom, a lazy millennial dev over at Clueless Capcom, man, I don't think I'd put any work into this either, to be frank. Because they know that the fake Resident Evil fans have infested this franchise.
Yeah.
And they think cutscenes, after all, are gameplay. That's where the Resident Evil community is at today. It's infested with a bunch of normies. They came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and they're like, oh my god, IGN said it was a 10 out of 10. So they don't even think for themselves. They're not capable of putting that thinking cap on. So they look at this and say, oh, the graphics are so good. That's a great game. But they've never even beat this. You know what I mean? I mean, that's really the reality of the situation. And as such, you know, this all new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, you know, it really, the focus is obviously on Project Resistance, and it's really incredibly sad. But you fake Resident Evil fans don't care. You never have and you never will. And, you know, that's just so unfortunate, but, you know, that's just how the cookie crumbles, folks. I am so tired of you fake Resident Evil fans going, oh, Michael, oh, Michael, oh, Michael. There's no oh, Michael about it. You continue to lose on a daily basis. This is this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. This is your look at this all-new... Capcom doesn't want you to see this. That's why they're trying to go out of their way to suppress world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life and Dylan, the real Resident Evil fans who've been there since day one. Look at that animation and don't sit there and say, oh, Michael, it ain't finished. No shit, it's not finished. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't seem like it's going to be finished anytime soon. They've only shown us 30 seconds or so of gameplay. Where is the gameplay? It is incredibly sad, and it's a huge red flag why we haven't seen more gameplay from this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I think, honestly, Project Resistance is where the money is at. We just got new news on that. Project Resistance. New news on Project Resistance, new maps, and all this horse shit. And it's like, dude, who cares about this mode? Show us more of this. But I don't think this is the focus. This is obviously on the back burner. That's why they're so scared, so reluctant to show us more of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And you guys know it deep down.
You know, oh man, that's whack, dude. Like, how long did it take before they had a demo for the all new edition of Resident Evil 2?
Well, they waited a little bit, and about a couple of weeks before the actual game came out, because they didn't want to put it out too early, and then people were actually fine.
Batcake donated $2 through Super Chat. Well said.
Thank you, Batcake. I appreciate the support. Thank you so kindly. And it is incredibly sad on where we're at, and just ultimately how the cookie's crumbling here for the Resident Evil franchise in 2020. It is so, like, this is the reality of this was included in the trailer. You know what I mean? That's why they're so reluctant to show off more gameplay. They're so petrified, you know, of us and us real Resident Evil fans that say, you know what, this isn't quite clearly where it needs to be. But, you know, you fake Resident Evil fans don't care. You never have and you never will, because you were too busy going, because, again, we go back to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and it wasn't quite clearly a home run for Capcom. That I can tell you. You know, you want to sit there and go, oh, Michael, it was so scary. It was so terrifying. Look at this. This is so stupid and so silly. How can you morons sit there and appreciate that? Look at this. This original Resident Evil 2, 1998, a freaking classic, and I'm telling you, has more detail than this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, but go on and sit there down below, oh, Macca, you're so wrong. No, I'm on a winning streak here. You're a loser, you're wrong, and I'm right, and that's the reality of the situation, and it's time for you fake Resident Evil fans to wake up and smell the coffee. I am exposing this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, and that's why Capcom has put the brakes on, you know, us. They're trying to suppress us, but I'll tell you what, we're going to continue to push really hard and really strong. In fact, this is more of a motivation thing for me, because it's like, oh, they want to, you know, basically spit in our face all the years of supporting them. I gave Capcom my hard-earned money. I bought a lot of the Resident Evil games, at least early on, you know, but the fact of the matter is that they're not going to get my support really anymore. I'm not buying this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I mean, not that I was before they blocked me, but especially now that they put the brakes on, you know, world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life. You really think I'm going to plop down $60, $50 on this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3? I mean, that is incredibly insane. You know what I mean? Put your thinking cap on. Take a second look at this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, and quite clearly you will see that this isn't where it needs to be. It's so sad, but you don't care. You never have and you never will, because you were too busy going, shut it down! I'm sick and tired of you fake Resident. Get back up on that bus with Ninja. Get back up on that bus with Ninja. Again, this is this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. And I don't care if you sit there and say, oh, Michael, you sound like a broken record. I have to reiterate this stuff with you fake Resident Evil fans, because you can't comprehend. You have ADHD after all. You're too busy on Fortnite going, oh my God, I'm going to build a wall right here. You know, and that's why you're so attracted to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Project Resistance. You know, that's really the main appeal, and Capcom knows that because they're pandering to you fake Resident Evil fans. It's not about quality anymore. It's about graphics, style, and presentation. You know, the fake Resident Evil fans, Dylan, that have infested this franchise, they don't care about the nuts and bolts of how these games work, the framework. They don't care about, features, mechanics. You know, none of that is really their concern. All they're looking at is IGN and GameSpot and, all of these other websites, these websites that are no doubt going to show this all new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, to the masses, when quite clearly, as you can already see, it's really not where it needs to be. So I don't know how you can defend the lazy millennial devs over at clueless Capcom. It's really, it's a sad situation,
Not only is it sad, I think it's about to get tragic, man. I think this game, since the all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 didn't have a multiplayer component. Since multiplayer is such a big forefront today when it comes to gaming for all these youngsters, these millennial babies, who play Fortnite, I think this is going to outsell Resident Evil 2. You feel me?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's more attractive again to the Fortnite crowd, and that's after all who has infested this franchise. Now they came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and now they think, oh, Michael, I have that certified badge. No, you don't have that certified badge. World-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life has that certified badge, and so does Dylan. We're real Resident Evil fans, unlike a lot of you who are watching the chat right now. We've been there since day one, and it's so incredibly sad how you can defend this and say, oh, Michael, take your own Michael and please shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Again, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, lacking the details of the original Resident Evil 2. And here's the thing, folks, a lot of people want to sit there and say, oh, Michael, but the...
MR donated $1 through Super Chat. RE3 is tacked on for Project Resistance.
Absolutely. Thank you so kindly for the Super Chat. Absolutely. It is tacked on. Project Resistance is quite clearly the game. That's the game. That's the focus. That's what's, what they're spending so much time on developing, I mean, they showed that off first. They showed off Project Resistance before they did this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. So that quite clearly shows you really the direction that Capcom is taking with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And as such, you're already starting to see the cracks here in this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Since this is quite clearly something that's on the back burner, there's just not... I mean, look at that. Look at the city. Look at Raccoon City. You can quite clearly see that it's so linear. Anyone hoping for more of like, okay, let's explore a little bit. Obviously, this isn't going to be an open-world free-roam game. No doubt about that. But, I mean, come on. A little bit more than what was presented in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2.
Batcake donated $10 through Super Chat. These new Resident Evil games are just cash grabs for casuals. Capcom is just a shadow of its former self. Shame on.
I agree, Batcake, and again, thank you so kindly for that Super Chat. I really do appreciate the support. Yeah, it is so tragic. It's incredibly sad on where these Resident Evil games are at today. And it's unfortunate because they're not going to take that ship and steer it in the right direction. Oh no, they're going right for that iceberg. Because they're looking at the fake Resident Evil fans that have now infested this franchise and they're going, oh my God, this is unbelievable, Capcom. But guys, we're showing you that the cracks are starting to show. We're not hating. We're critical because we care. And yet what Resident Evil wants to do is they want to say, oh, Michael, we're going to shut you down there, buddy. No, you're not shutting me down because I'm going to continue to push really hard and really strong, more so than ever. But I'll tell you what, they're not getting my hard-earned money, and I'm really never going to buy a Resident Evil title again after this. This is bullshit. So again, whoever runs this page, they can go fuck themselves right up the you-know-where. It's just so ridiculous. We're here because we care. I've supported Resident Evil throughout the years. I have fond memories of buying, the Shinji Mikami remake, and now they're basically saying, well, we don't care about your support anymore. I mean, that it's really, it's a spit in the face, it's a slap in the face to us real Resident Evil fans.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you should have saw this coming. The way the business has been going these past few years, the way they've been shilling and just...
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. If I were a shill, if I were saying this is the best thing since sliced bread, this is better than the original Resident Evil 2, so on and so forth, then they would be all up my ass, basically. They'd be like, oh my God, Michael, you make great videos. We want you to, shill our product.
Yeah.
That's where pretty much the entire platform is here on YouTube. I mean, that's what so many people are in bed with Capcom. They're in bed with these publishers. They're shilling. They're playing for money. They're playing for acceptance. They're playing for all of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, it stings a little bit that Capcom blocked me, but at the end of the day, you know what? They can go fuck themselves, to be frank. And that's the reality of the situation, because I care about the quality of the game. You know, I care about how these games are in terms of quality, the framework, the nuts and bolts, the features, the mechanics, things like that. But, you know, the fake Resident Evil fans who have quite clearly infested this franchise these days, they don't care about any of that. It's all about graphics, style, and presentation. I mean, quite clearly the cracks are already starting to show here with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But go on, sit there down below and go, oh, Michael, you're so wrong. Oh, Michael. There's no oh, Michael about it. Again, you can take the oh, Michael stuff and please shove it where the sun doesn't shine. You fake Resident Evil fans need a reality check. You fake Resident Evil fans really probably should stay on that bus in Fortnite, but, you know, I'm sure you're bored with Fortnite, so now you're going to move on to Project Resistance, and I know that's not going to satisfy even the fake Resident Evil fans. It's not going to satisfy those who came from Fortnite to Project Resistance, you know what I mean? They're going to get bored of that mode because there's really nothing to it. You know, you look at that mode alone, and it's, wow. You know, I mean, I can't believe that garbage that has now infested like attaching Project Resistance to this all new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. That alone is such a disgrace to the entire franchise. I mean, you go back to Shinji Mikami's remake. That's real survival horror. They ain't holding your hand in that game. It's not about shooting anything that moves. You have to actually put your thinking cap on, solving the puzzles, being strategic, you know, managing your resources, inventory, all of that stuff. You have to kind of think about that as you're playing the game, along with edge of your seat type gameplay.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality of the situation these days with Resident Evil. It's always about, oh, you just basically literally move forward. It's like a Sonic game. You move to the right in the Sonic games. Well, the Resident Evil games, you move forward and you shoot anything that moves. It's literally like Call of Duty these days. These new Resident Evil titles are like Call of Duty these days.
Yeah, action horror. There's no survival elements as far as I can tell. There's barely any horror elements. You move forward, you shoot. You move forward, you shoot. You know, occasionally you might get a popcorn jump scare, something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the original games had jump scares, and that's fine because they were balanced out in a way that made sense.
Cloud Bloom donated $2 through Super Chat. Folks, the cracks are starting to show.
Cloud Bloom, we really do appreciate your support. Thank you so kindly for that Super Chat. Indeed, the cracks are indeed starting to show. And quite clearly, Capcom is aware because they're so scared, they're so terrified, they're so petrified that they went all the way to my Twitter and they blocked me. They went to my Twitter and they actually hit the block button. You know what I mean? So they're obviously aware of these videos, but they just can't handle the heat, so they have to run out of the kitchen. You know, they just can't handle the reality of the situation. They can't handle that the fact of the matter is that the cracks are already indeed starting to show, as we have been showing you here today throughout this live internet television show. This is, folks, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I think someone can literally remake Resident Evil 3 better in dreams.
I think so.
Absolutely.
I think it's totally possible.
I'm not even joking. I think someone can do a better rendition of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 in dreams. This is inexcusable. It's so incredibly sad, but you fake Resident Evil fans don't care. Oh, Michael, it ain't finished. Okay, it's not finished. Why do you think Capcom is being so reluctant to share more gameplay? We only have, as of this recording, 30 seconds or so of gameplay, and they're not showing us more. And I'll tell you why, folks. It's because they are so scared. If this is in the trailer, if they allowed that to get in the trailer, that terrible animation transition there, then there's no telling if they put out, 10 minutes worth of gameplay, what people are going to actually see if they were to display 10 minutes worth of gameplay of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. That's why they're being so quiet, because quite clearly this is not the focus. This isn't the forefront. Resident Evil 3, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, is basically Project Resistance.
It is. It really is. And you know how infested this franchise is, Michael? You know how infested it is? I just reviewed the chat. Somebody was bitching and moaning about Shinji Mikami's Resident Evil. They said it has flaws too. Well, wait till you see the all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Wait till you see that. You think anything's flawed in the past, well, you're about to see some serious shit.
You fake Resident Evil fans, my oh my, you need a reality check. Again, this is this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. This isn't a flaw. It's just so bad game design. Lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom.
MR donated dollar through Super Chat. I want a crowdfunded Shinji Mikami RE3 remake.
Absolutely. Thank you, MR, for the super chat. I really do appreciate that. Absolutely. And that was the plan, I believe. Well, I don't know about remaking Resident Evil 3, but I know Shinji Mikami wanted to remake Resident Evil 2 on the GameCube with that style. Can you imagine where we would be today? How the entire franchise... Bro, unbelievably amazing. But instead we got this soulless, we got this half-assed, we got this disposable, all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and it really is incredibly sad.
$10 through Super Chat. Smiley face.
I really do appreciate the support, guys. Thank you, KT. We continue to expose the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom.
KT donated $10 through Super Chat. Smiley face.
Well, KT, you're being really generous, and we really do appreciate your support as we continue to expose the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom. I'm showing you the cracks, and that's why I'm here, because we care. You know, Capcom, they want to sit there and go, oh, Michael. That's what they basically did. They pulled an old Michael, and they pulled out, and they said, screw you, Michael. Why? Because I'm telling you the truth. They can't handle that. That is incredibly sad. All of the support that I gave Resident Evil, I've invested so much of my time here on this planet talking about Resident Evil in the past year or so, and this is what they want to do because I care. Not because I'm a hater, but because I care, and so do you. The real Resident Evil fans, and we know they're watching. We get calls on almost, every time we do these, we get calls and they're very supportive. Yeah. We know the real Resident Evil fans are out there, and they are obviously in line with our viewpoint. They might not 100% agree with us, but I'll tell you what, this franchise is crumbling right before our eyes. As you can see, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, lacking in so many areas, but you want to look past them and say, oh, Michael, this ain't a big deal. Who actually did this? Well, quite clearly I did. I went out to the gate and I said, I remember that moment in this in the original Resident Evil 2, 1998, and I tried to recreate it, and I will tell you, I was severely disappointed when this was what came to fruition. And then you look at the original Resident Evil 2, 1998, so much more detail, so much more everything, character, soul, you name it. That is a home run when the Capcom actually cared. Back in 1998, over 20-something years ago. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 literally is soulless cash grab, disposable, half-assed. No one's talking about it. The only support the game has is through mods. That's the only reason why people care in the first place, is through mods. That's the only longevity this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 had. And this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, the cracks are already indeed starting to show. The animations are quite clearly where they need to be. It's really going to be a disaster. But we know the fake Resident Evil fans are going to be there. We know the fake Resident Evil fans are going to be there regardless of quality, because they don't care about the nuts and bolts, the framework. They don't care about any of that. They care about style, presentation, and graphics. After all, you fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, you just don't understand what made the original games tick, and that's quite clear to me, because you want to sit there and try and downplay this. Oh, Michael, it's not out yet. Oh, Michael. Let me ask you this again. Why is Capcom, the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, why are they so reluctant to show us more gameplay? Can you answer that question to me? It's Valentine's Day, bro.
MR donated dollar through Super Chat. All new Resident Evil 2 is a walking simulator.
It is. Thank you so kindly for the support, MR. Once again, I really do appreciate the super chat. It really is just a walking simulator. Again, we talked about this a little tad bit earlier. You basically just walk forward like the Sonic games. In the Sonic games, you move to the right, and that's it. When you're playing a NASCAR game, you just go, turn to the left. Well, in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, it really is just a walking simulator. Again, you don't have to put your thinking cap on. You don't have to really do anything.
KT donated $10 through Super Chat. Michael, imagine a true RE2 make/remake. Imagine 2026 pre-rendered backdrops with fixed cam tank and...
I'll read the rest.
Yeah, I think, again, I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate the support, guys. You guys are incredible, and yeah, I mean...
Imagine 2020 6K pre-rendered backdrops with fixed camera angles, tank controls. Remember how far ahead the remake from 2020
Absolutely.
was?
Yeah.
I mean.
Absolutely, bro. You go back to Shinji Mikami's remake from 2001, 2002, whenever that game came out, and bro, it still holds up to this day. if they were to go back and actually remake this in a way that makes sense, because I will sit on here and tell you right here, right now, Capcom didn't remake this all new edition of Resident Evil 2. If they were to go back and remake it properly, fixed camera angles, tank controls, pre-rendered backgrounds, we would literally have one of the best looking video games of all time.
Yeah.
It would literally be on par with Avatar. I mean, I'm not a game dev, I'm not an engineer. I don't even know if the pre-rendered background tank control style is even possible these days. I just don't know. But if it is, my oh my, what an incredible treat. And it's such a shame that we didn't even get that when Shinji Mikami was thinking about remaking properly, Resident Evil back in 2002.
Precisely, what we're looking at right here, Michael, I feel like it's not an oversight. It's a deliberate thing. They just did not care. They don't care.
No.
And they continue to not care. And it's incredibly sad,
Look at that.
For real, man. I kept shooting those zombies when I was a kid, man. And eventually it says, they just keep coming. They won't stop coming. It's like, dude, it feels like there's actually a zombie apocalypse happening. And in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, it doesn't feel like there's a zombie
You literally
apocalypse.
go in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. Such a terrible game, guys. You literally go from the crash site to the RPD in like 15 feet.
Yeah. If that, dude.
And you know why they did that? Because they're catering, pandering to the fake Resident Evil fans. That's what they're doing. They're catering, pandering to the fake Resident Evil fans that have now infested this franchise. They got ADHD. They want to get right to the action.
Batcake donated $10 through Super Chat. Well said, KT, and thanks for your insight, Michael. Capcom needs to step up.
Absolutely. Thank you so kindly back. I really do appreciate the support. That's why we're here. Because we care. We're pushing really hard and really strong in the face of adversity, battling with the fake Resident Evil fans, and now battling seemingly with Capcom. Again, they have blocked me, and I'm sure they will block you too.
Eventually.
If you tweeted, all I did was tweet Capcom 3 times, once every month when they tweeted, and I said, just delay the game. Because it's quite clearly not where it needs to be. Delay the game, and they said, well, we can't handle that. Are you serious? So maybe you should try that. Tell them to delay the game and see how fast you get blocked.
Probably instantly at this point. This is so infested. This franchise is so infested with these millennial devs, these fake Resident Evil fans. It's like, well, this guy disagrees. He's a contrarian.
Yeah, a contrarian, a hater. This, that, and the other. And it's like, dude, we're here because we care. I don't know how hard that is to see, and it really. It stings. It stings because, again, I remember buying the Shinji Mikami remake and buying the strategy guide for that. I still had both, the strategy guide and the game on GameCube, and it was such a pivotal moment for me. And now they're basically saying, well, thank you for the support, but no thank you. Just like, what in the shit is going on here? Like, I don't understand. But that's the reality of the situation. That's how Capcom wants to play. And if that's how they want to play, that's fine. I'm not going to buy this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I'm not going to give Capcom, the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, my hard-earned money. Not that I was before, what I mean? I wasn't going to do it before because they didn't give me a reason to. But now that they're, blocking me on social media, they can go take this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, which looks like nothing but absolute garbage, by the way, and shove it where the sun doesn't shine. Again, it's not a remake. It's an all-new Resident Evil game that's loosely inspired by this game right here. That's what's going on here in this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. But you don't care. You never have and you never will because you were too busy going... Come on, shut it down! It is time for you fake Resident Evil fans to wake up and smell the coffee. Thank you, Tim, for subscribing. See, the real Resident Evil fans, we know they're out there. Again, when we do these live shows, they call and they tell us, you're so right. But when we make, when we have standard videos, the fake Resident Evil fans bombard in because they think, that we're haters. And we're not haters. We're critical because we care.
Well, you should see the chat, man. It's going crazy down there. So many fake Resident Evil fans. It's nuts.
That's why I'm not looking. They have an opportunity. You fake Resident Evil fans who are watching, and I know it's probably about 70%. you fake Resident Evil fans who are watching, we are going to open up the calls here in just a moment. And you are going to be able to call in to world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life and Dylan, real Resident Evil fans, and let's be real here. We want the fake Resident Evil fans to call in. I mean, if you're a real Resident Evil fan and you want to speak your mind, you know, that's fine as well. But
$5 through Super Chat. Nemesis / Mr. X chasing you through doors fixed camera angle style is more frightening than OTS.
Remake 1, zombies opening doorknobs in the mansion was creepy. I recently was playing the Shinji Mikami remake, and I hadn't played it on hard mode in a while. And I totally forgot the zombies totally bash down the doors.
Yeah.
And they overwhelm you. Dude, it takes like a whole clip
yeah,
for me.
that was a new addition. It's like if you don't burn the zombies, they come back.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. By the way, thank you so kindly for the super chat once again. God damn, just bring Shinji Mikami back. Bring Shinji Mikami back, because literally the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, I don't know how you could sit on here and say this is great. I don't know how you can sit on here and say this is unbelievably amazing. I swear to God, we're in the twilight zone. You know, it really just, again, more support. Thank you so kindly for subscribing. The real Resident Evil fans are out there. They appreciate the old style, and it's not old is automatically better than new. That's another argument that I hear all the time. Oh, Mac, would you just think, you have your little glasses on and you think old is automatically better than new? And it's like,
of course
guys,
not.
No. There's a lot of old games that we go back to sometimes, and we sit there and we say, you know what, maybe this isn't all that fantastic. It wasn't like how I remember, because there's a lot that, happens in terms of technology, at least for a lot of other games, not this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, but specifically with animations, a lot of the old games, not Resident Evil games necessarily, but older games, they don't necessarily age all that well. So it's not about old is automatically better than new. It's just like, dude, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, it lacks soul, it's soulless, it doesn't have character. This, the original Resident Evil 2, as you can quite clearly see, that's how it's done. I don't know how Capcom sat there and said, oh, Michael, let's make a walking simulator. Again, you just literally move forward. You don't have to put your thinking cap on. They streamline the puzzles. You don't really have to do anything. It's just, oh, Mr. X is chasing you throughout the halls.
Annoying as hell, too.
Yeah.
The worst game mechanic I've
it's
experienced.
Like, okay, at first maybe you're a little startled, but then it just becomes a nuisance.
Yeah, a chore.
There's nothing terrifying. There's nothing, God. If that's Mr. X, can you imagine what they're going to do with Nemesis here in this all-new upcoming edition?
Oh, no.
It's going to be a shit show. You have to get Nemesis right. And look at that right there. It's just going to be another, hey, walk up to Nemesis, start shooting, maybe do a little dodge thing, and that's all it's going to be. Because this isn't a survival horror experience. It's an action shooter that wants to be this survival horror game. But again, the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they are pandering to you fake Resident Evil fans that have quite clearly now infested this franchise. But again, you don't care, quite clearly, because you said this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 is the best thing since sliced bread. And we continue to expose this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, and that is why Capcom has blocked world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life on Twitter. I didn't Photoshop that. That's the real deal. They have blocked me on Twitter, and for no reason, no reason other than the fact that they are terrified, they are scared, because we are on here pushing really hard and really strong in the face of adversity to say, you know what, not because we're hating, but because we care. We're critical because we care. We are on here pushing really hard and really strong to say, you know what, this quite clearly isn't where it needs to be. All I told them on Twitter was to delay the game. I think that's fair. It wasn't like I said, Capcom sucks, this isn't where, I literally said just delay the game. That's all I said. You can go to my Twitter right now, twitter.com/MichaelDoesLife, and you can look at what I said to Capcom, and they thought that was, oh my God, we gotta block that guy, because he's a hater, he's a contrarian.
Not at all, man. We only want the best for this franchise.
Obviously, we wouldn't even be coming on here and talking about this if we didn't care.
Yeah.
Literally, we have the original Resident Evil 3 right here. Now, I know most of you who are watching are going to sit there and say, Michael, what are you holding? What is that foreign object? It's a compact disc. But you fake Resident Evil fans that have now infested this franchise, you go digital only. Oh my God, Michael, what is this? A disc? What's that? What's a disc drive? That's the Resident Evil franchise today.
Yeah.
That's where we are at today. The fake Resident Evil fans, they literally jumped off that bus, and now they've landed in Raccoon City, and they sit there and they go, oh, Michael,
Enigma STG Makes donated 10 Australian dollars through Super Chat. Lazy clueless Capcom need to open their ears, shut their mouths and listen to the truth from the real Resident Evil fan.
The world-class veteran video game critic and Dylan. Thank you, Enigma.
Yeah, thank you, Enigma. They really do need to listen, but quite clearly, they are scared, they are petrified, they are terrified because we are showing the truth. We are exposing, because we care, because we want to see these games get back on the right track. We want to see the Resident Evil franchise do so much more. You know what I mean? Because right now, what Capcom is essentially doing is they're on the Titanic, and they're not steering away from the iceberg. They're not slamming the brakes on. They're going full steam ahead into the iceberg. And I don't know how you think that's a better tactic than potentially steering the ship in a different direction. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 was not a great experience, despite what IGN might have told you. This all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 quite clearly isn't where it needs to be. And I know you guys are sitting there and saying, oh my God, Mac, you just repeat yourself. Oh my God. I have to keep coming on here to reiterate my points because you fake Resident Evil fans can't put your thinking cap on. You can't sit there and comprehend what I'm saying because you're too busy going, I'm playing Fortnite. Again, you came from Fortnite, you played with Ninja, now you've landed in Raccoon City as you jumped off the bus in Fortnite, and it is incredibly sad because, again, you don't care about, the nuts and bolts, the framework of how these games operate or function. You care about graphics, style, and presentation. This is from the trailer in this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, and you want to sit there and go, oh, Michael, this is unfinished. Yeah, the game isn't out yet, but if that's in the trailer, then that's why they're not showing us more. Over 30 seconds of gameplay, that's all we've got. Just about 30 or so seconds worth of gameplay. There's more gameplay right now from Cyberpunk 2077, The Last of Us Part 2, Avengers, and, the Final Fantasy Remake. And all of those games come out way later this year. We have more gameplay of all of those games than we do this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. That, folks, is a red flag. It's a red flag. And it's incredibly sad because we know you fake Resident Evil fans don't care. You never have, and you never will. Folks, we're going to go ahead and open up the lines. And again, we want the fake Resident Evil fans to call in.
$dollar through Super Chat. Ironically, PUBG had a Resident Evil theme mode.
Absolutely. Thank you so kindly, MR, for the Super Chat. Yeah, they had a little gimmick in PUBG. Where literally, Resident Evil licensed content and probably a map pack or all that bullshit. I think, Jesus Lord.
Wow, what the hell?
Seriously, that's the reality of the situation. And I wouldn't be surprised if they eventually have a freaking Fortnite little sponsored thing. And they're like, oh my God, Fortnite, look, we got Resident Evil content coming into Fortnite. Because again, that's who has infested this franchise. They came from Fortnite. It's not a joke. It's not a meme. They came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. That's the reality of the situation. But again, you don't care. You never have. And you never will because you were too busy going... Folks, we're taking your calls right here and right now, and believe me, we want you fake Resident Evil fans to call in. We appreciate the real Resident Evil fans, and we know you're watching. That's why we're the voice of the voiceless, despite Capcom saying, oh, Michael, we don't want you in the Resident Evil community anymore. It doesn't matter, really, at the end of the day. We want the fake Resident Evil fans to call in. Hello, you're on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life. Hell yeah.
How do you do? You know what it is with unique Resident Evil fans? They are bitter because they do not have the same happy memories that we have of games.
Absolutely.
They have to take hours now, okay? Because all they have are cheap Call of Duty shooters requiring no thought. They're all the same, right? And they're too damn young, and they can't handle our games of yesterday because they're too hard. I believe that is the case.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if the fixed camera angle and tank control pre-rendered background style to return today, if that's what Capcom would do with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 or the future of this franchise, I mean, people would literally, it would melt their brains.
Lose their minds.
Yeah, it would be like playing Slayer in the mall.
Exactly. And you know what else? When we discovered Biohazard, well, what I did, it was like discovering Jack Daniels for the first time. It was bad. So I understand that you are banned from Twitter now.
Yeah, unfortunately, Capcom, they blocked me on Twitter, but, that's because we're exposing them. We're exposing this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 and this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, and quite clearly they can't handle that,
And they're a bunch of corporate whores. Let's
Yep,
get down to brass
because
tacks.
we're not shilling the product.
Well, I know this is happening for a fact, and it's because we are winning. I had 3 friends in the past week who have been permanently banned from Steam discussions just for mentioning your name. This is true. So if the moderators at Steam are watching this, you lily-livered, effeminate, soy-drinking SJW sissies can kiss my rosy red ass.
Hell yeah, bro.
God damn. God damn. That is incredible. What a great call. And it's true. I've been hearing reports of that as well. People from the Steam board, they are getting banned just for mentioning my name.
What the hell?
I don't know what I did. You know what I mean? I am critical because I care, but people are looking at the videos and they go, "Oh, Michael, you're just a hater." No, I'm not a hater. We're coming on here because we care. I don't know how hard that is to explain. You know what I mean?
They don't. Thing is, Michael, this is going to work because we went through this in 2014 after years of lobbying to have the Tex Murphy series revived. People were saying it would never work. It's too old. Nobody would buy it. But you know what? As soon as we got the green light, we had the old stars signing up to do cameos. We had James Earl Jones. We had June Lockhart, Warwick Davis. We had Kevin McCarthy. He passed away, but Kevin McCarthy. So don't ever try and tell me nobody wants this good old style that makes people put their brains in gear. Because that is nonsense. So you are winning. This is a fact. And I'm happy for that.
Absolutely. We really do appreciate the support. And I know a lot of people, yeah, like you said, I mean, there are a lot of people out there that have the same feelings in regards to where this franchise is going. And it's incredibly sad how, the fake Resident Evil fans have infested this franchise. But I guess, it is what it is at the end of the day. But we're still going to push really hard and really strong in the face of adversity to say, you know what, this quite clearly isn't where it needs to be.
It hasn't been where it needs to. 7 was okay. Until the halfway point, I feel it was a good try, at least, but they've gone backwards now, and they've gone so far backwards, they're shrinking, they're de-evolving, they're regressing into a fetus, and that's what these games are for, people with the intelligence of a fetus, and are not particularly bright fetus. So, let's just keep on at this, and it will go somewhere. It will.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we thank you so kindly once again for the support, man. I really do appreciate when you call in because it's nice to hear from a voice like you.
I'm still stuck in the house. I think I'm hallucinating now because I'm talking to a giant piece of tofu. I don't know whether it is a male piece of tofu or a female. They all look the same. But what are you gonna do? I did meet another person with big muscles and a forehead that will keep rain off the feet, who was called Jill. I thought it was a woman, but no, it was a guy with big, hairy balls, cojones, pumpkins. So that's the state of things at the moment, but good luck, Michael. There is hope here because we are getting blacklisted. And more the merrier, I say. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That caller's a badass.
Oh, yeah.
Let's okay, I'm not mixing words here. Jill's a guy. A man.
Yeah,
She probably has more hair on her chest than me.
Yeah.
And it's just looking at her frame here, it's so not womanly. It's like they don't want a woman in their game. It's like they're total sexist. What's happening here? That's a mannequin.
They're catering to the current climate, I guess. Catering, pandering.
Trying to have like a totally sexless.
Can't show too
like,
much skin.
Yeah.
And if you want that iconic classic outfit for Jill, it's behind a paywall. Got about 3 calls. Let's go ahead and take some more calls here. Again, you can call us in on Skype. Jesus.
Let's try this one.
Hello, you're on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Good evening, world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life. Good evening, Dylan. Good evening, Resident Evil fans that are viewing on the stream. And to everyone else, aka the fake Resident Evil fans, go fuck yourselves. So, I'm not sure if you can hear that in the background.
Slightly, yeah, we can hear something.
So that was the sound of my mouse clicking. I was on Amazon's Your Orders page, which is now devoid of pre-orders for this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, thanks to the cancellation of my pre-order.
Ah, very smart of you.
Mind you, this wasn't something that I originally would have pre-ordered. God, no. I mean, I still own my copies of Resident Evil Director's Cut, Resident Evil 2 DualShock, and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis on Sony's PlayStation 1. I'm a real fan, and I've been there since day one. The very thought of paying money for this product disgusts me. I mean, can you even call this a product? It's fucking gutter trash, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not where it needs to be, to say the least. I mean, obviously, Project Resistance, the multiplayer component, is the focus, and this, remake, it's not a remake, it's an all-new Resident Evil game that's loosely inspired by Resident Evil 3 1999. That's obviously on the back burner, and as such, that's why this is really not, off to a great start.
Yeah, I agree. And going back to the whole pre-order thing, so I had just done it before I made the Skype call. And after you had answered said Skype call, I then subsequently canceled the pre-order of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. This was my way of giving those stupid shareholders a bundle of hope. You know what I'm talking about? A bundle of hope. A new sale. That's what a bundle of hope is to them. As they sit there in their offices and watch their live data sales count increase. But when I cancel it, they then get engulfed by despair after they immediately see their sales count roll back.
It's true, and I think one of the things, they just recently dropped the price. It was, $50 on Amazon, $50 on Walmart, because I think they wanted to boost pre-orders, and people were saying, oh, Michael, Capcom didn't do that. Well, I don't know what's really happening, but I'll tell you what, they're not showing us gameplay. There's only 30 seconds of gameplay. Why you would put your money down on 30 seconds of gameplay, that is really just retarded, sorry.
Precisely.
Yeah, that's totally baffling, and anyone who does that is just... they have a brain vacancy, if I'm being quite honest. Now, I would want to say that people who join me in this pre-order and then pre-order cancel attack, that would be great. And these attacks that I've been performing of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, I would not ask this of you, world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life, or your sidekick Dylan. But if you had orders for myself and the wonderful viewers of this stream, know that we would gladly follow them. Now, of course, when I say wonderful viewers of this stream, I am referring to the real Resident Evil fans, not the fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. These fake Resident Evil fans that have landed in Raccoon City need to get right back up on that fucking bus and head back to Fortnite. Myself and the real Resident Evil fans that are in this stream right fucking now, we are your personal army. Whatever your directives, we'll implement without question. We'll collaborate under your command to turn this disposable, forgettable, soulless cash grab into dust.
Yeah, I mean, we have to definitely continue to push really hard and really strong and send Capcom a message, and I think this is, obviously a step in the right direction for us real Resident Evil fans to say maybe Capcom, this is not what you should be doing here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and despite the chat having so many fake Resident Evil fans, we know how many real Resident Evil fans are there. Each call gets more and more interesting. You know, people are showing us they have that certified badge. They've been there since the beginning, just like us.
And you know, I want to expand on that. The fact that, yes, we can sense the presence, the support that you have. It's a beautiful thing. And I want to say, people like Residents of Evil, you know, when I say we are your personal army, Michael, this isn't just about attacks on Capcom. It's about attacks on the shills on this platform. We will do things like smashing their unlike buttons or whatever. All their credibility will be lost, along with their careers, and with their source of income from their channel being lost, with their source of income being all but lost. They would have to defer to cocksucking at the back of the Olive Gardens to make ends meet. Oh, but they'll get no sympathy from us, though. No. Because such is the punishment for shilling. This disposable, forgettable, soulless cash grab. To be quite honest, they can take our sympathy and shove it where the sun doesn't shine.
Absolutely, and the shills over at Residents of Evil and Where is Barry and all of these fake Resident Evil fans, these fake Resident Evil channels. It's an incredibly sad landscape. They're playing, you know, to get in bed with Capcom. They're playing to really just shill the product. They're just basically, they're a mouthpiece for these corporations.
And you know what? It's because this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 isn't just shit on the bottom of my shoe. It's shit on the bottom of world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Light's shoe. It's shit on the bottom of Dylan's shoe. And to all the viewers watching this, except the fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, it's shit on the bottom of your shoes as well. It's essentially the amalgamation of our shit. And looking at the view count, and knowing the amount of people that support you, and the destruction of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3,
Backcake donated $10 through Super Chat. Well said, all true Re's Evil fans. Rise up against Capcom's incompetence and fake Re's Evil fans. Too many
brown-nosing critics and shills. Thank you so kindly, Backcake, again for the super chat. Really do appreciate your support. The real Resident Evil fans, they're here, and we are continuing to push really hard and really strong to send that message to Capcom, especially now that they're trying to slam the brakes on what we're doing. You know, we're trying to say, hey, look, we care. You know, we're not haters. We're not coming on here and, you know, getting the pitchforks out at Capcom. I mean, believe me, I think that's almost what we need to do at some point here because obviously they're not listening. But we're critical, you know, because we care. We want to see this franchise get back on the right track because right now, again, it's the Titanic. And unfortunately, they're steering that ship right into the iceberg. And we're trying to say, hey, bro, this isn't, you know, what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And just know that all your fans appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate the call. We're going to go ahead and take another call. Thank you so kindly for the support.
I do want to say just a few more things before I close.
All right, absolutely.
So, fuck the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom to high heaven, purgatory, and all fucking existence. Fuck them up, their stupid asses, their fucking clown shoes. The cracks are indeed starting to show. And for the fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, it's time to wake up and smell the coffee. These lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom are developing a loose inspiration of Resident Evil 3, but don't fucking forget that with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And it's incredibly sad. Like, let's fucking shut it down.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you so kindly for the call. Really do appreciate it.
You have yourselves a good night.
Take care.
Bye.
You know, that fella, he's got that certified badge.
Yeah.
He knows what's
Telling
up.
it like it is, giving, you know, the fake Resident Evil fans who are watching a reality check. Thank you so kindly for calling in. You're in the air, on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life and Dylan.
Hey, Michael, and hey, Dylan. Hey, by the way, hey Dylan, you didn't know William Birkin's name, by the way. You called him the Doctor. How could you say you're an actual Resident Evil fan?
Well, William Birkin, I mean, like, it's been a while since I played the original Resident Evil 2, and this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, let me tell you what, man, that cutscene where they kill the William Birkin, it's so forgettable. Did you see how they changed it?
Oh yeah, I seen it. But also, too, I have more questions for you guys, too. Like, you're showing videos of, like, let's say, like, when Michael goes up and you're trying to show, like, the zombies not coming through the door.
Yeah.
The reasons why the zombies aren't coming through the door is because the officer down there, you know, is still alive down there, and you're trying to compare of, oh, they can't come through the door. One, you failed on that. Two,
No.
and then you're going outside showing videos that you trying to shoot the zombies. One, it's an outside zone. You can't go out there.
But
So why do you care about that so much?
You're out of your mind, fella.
Unbelievable. Here we go. A fake Resident Evil. Bro, go back to...
Fake Resident Evil fan. I'm not a fake Resident Evil fan. You're just showing stupid stuff.
No, I'm showing you the cracks. I'm showing you that the cracks are indeed starting to show.
You're
Bro,
not showing any cracks. You're just showing that you're just a troll.
no, I'm showing you the lack of details in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. How can you sit there and defend that? How can you sit there and say, oh my god, that's where it needs to be? It's stupid how they can't fall down and die. Because they did in a game that's over 20 years. You want to sit there and go, oh Mako, you take your crap and you shove it where the sun doesn't shine because you continue to lose on a daily basis. You are in the losers club.
You can't do that, bro. You can't like literally just say like, oh, the zombies wouldn't come out.
I'm showing you. We're not saying, bro. Listen.
And they're not, and it wouldn't look right. Even if they would have let the zombies outside, it just wouldn't. If they wouldn't have programmed it, because it just wouldn't look right. You know what I mean? Like, if they let the zombies come out of the door and Marvin's still sitting there, they're not going to attack him because they're not going to be programmed to do that.
Nah, bro, we're not talking about Marvin. You're talking about the clip we showed on the last stream.
We're showing, yeah.
It was in the depth of the
But
PlayStation.
No, you were complaining about that the one time, and I just, because this is like, you know, someone's got to say it because no one has said it to you guys before, and you guys keep showing it, and it just. Like, you guys are showing it right now of, like, this zombie getting shot in the head and not going down.
Yeah, that's stupid. That's dumb. That's stupid.
You're ammo on them because you're not supposed to go out there anymore.
Yeah, no, but it doesn't matter. Look at the original Resident Evil 2 from 1998, a game that is over 20 years old, and you can kill the zombies that are outside the gate. You can't go back outside that gate. I don't know what you're trying to say here, but I'll tell you what, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 is lacking detail. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 is not where it needs to be. The lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they didn't hit that home run. So you can sit there and go, oh, Mako, you're so wrong. But at the end of the day, just know that you're a part of the losers club.
I'm not part of the loser squad ever. And I don't play Fortnite. I don't know why you keep
Yeah,
trying to say
I really doubt that. I'm sure you just played with Ninja earlier today.
I never played Fortnite. And that you can't compare this game to Fortnite at all.
Yeah, you can. It's literally in the same presence. You need to start listening, folks, because here's the reality of the situation. It's an over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. You don't have to put your thinking cap on. You literally shoot anything.
Have you ever played Fortnite?
Yeah, I played Fortnite, and I'll be honest with you, bro. I would rather play... Listen to me. I would rather play Fortnite than this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. There, I said it. I would rather play Fortnite than this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3.
Mike, I'm kind of glad that you got banned from Resident Evil because you're a joke. Thank you.
A fake
The
Resident
joke's
Evil
on
fan.
you,
He
pal.
literally had
The joke's on you.
We're literally showing the cracks, and he wanted to sit there and say, "Oh, Mackley, it don't matter. They have the same arguments, the same little rebuttals that go nowhere."
They're not
at the
living
end of the
in
day.
reality.
They're not.
You know, they can't handle that reality check that they so desperately need. But do they deserve
let's go
it?
ahead. Here we go.
I'm not so
Holy
sure.
shit!
Holy shit.
Hello, you're on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Live. Thank you so kindly for calling in.
Hey, Michael, real Resident Evil fan here. I'll be real quick. I just had an idea for why they're putting so much focus on Project Resistance. I think it's because they're going to include a battle pass.
Absolutely, yeah. They're going to monetize the hell out of that to make a lot of money.
Through Super
Yeah, and they're going to try to
Well
attract
said,
the
Michael.
Fortnite gamers.
Fake
to
Reese
this
Evil
all-new
fans
upcoming
are
edition of
delusional
Resident
and
Evil
don't
3 with
understand the
Battle Pass.
insight of real Reese Evil
There's not enough
fans.
meat on that bone.
They don't, Backcake. They don't, and it's incredibly sad. Thank you again so kindly for the super chat. I really do appreciate the support, Backcake. My, oh my.
Not only is there no meat on that bone, But they're choosing style over substance.
Yeah.
You know, it is a pretty game, I'll admit that, in
Well,
some locations.
yeah.
But if you look at the cracks, they are there.
Absolutely. You go up to anything real close in this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and it's like, wow, this really doesn't look all that hot.
They don't want you to look at it.
Resident Evil 7 looks better than this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. I don't care if people out there disagree. It's a better-looking game than this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and it had to be because it was in VR.
Absolutely, and it's incredibly sad.
It is. It's really not where this franchise. It's so disgusting that the fake Resident Evil fans, and I know they're being so combative down below. Oh, Mackle, but the reality, folks, of the situation is that we are here because we care. Capcom says otherwise, and they want to sit there and go, "Oh, Mackle, you're a hater." No, we're not haters. We're here because we care. We want to see this franchise get back on the right track, and that's why we're pushing really hard and really strong in the face of adversity to say, "Hey, bro, the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom quite clearly don't know what made the original Resident Evil games tick. And the fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, they don't care. They never have, and they never will."
Well, thanks, Michael. I really just wanted to bring that one point up. That might be something interesting.
Hell yeah.
Michael Dillon, he'd fight the good fight.
Hell yeah. We appreciate you calling in, man.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You know, it's incredibly sad, but they continue to lose on a daily basis. And that's why that one caller was so pissed off. He was like he was trying to say something about Marvin. We're not talking about Marvin here.
No, we're
talking
showing
about
Marvin,
the zombie.
we're showing
that
about,
you first, it first comes over the desk.
Hello, you are on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Hey, what's up, guys? I did a call last week.
Yeah.
I just want to say, good job keeping up the good fight. I could not believe that Capcom actually blocked Michael Does Life. You know, I was actually shocked. I was like, really? They actually went out of the way to suppress the truth. But the reason I made this call was because we actually had Hater that just called in before the last caller.
Right.
And I think that guy's a complete fucking idiot. I'm pretty sure if you do not play Fortnite, wherever you are, Call of Duty and GTA 5 are in that same sentence. So go ahead and play those games, alright? We don't need you.
Yeah, they're definitely...
As for Resident Evil 2, I did... You know what's funny? I actually bought the remake. I can't even call it a remake. It's not a remake. I bought that game last spring. Mind you, I only passed it twice. So it's almost a full year since I bought it.
Wow.
So, just today, I played the original Resident Evil 2 and passed it twice. That goes to show how good of that, of a classic is. It's hard to explain it,
Oh, absolutely.
When you can't put the control down.
Absolutely. I mean, we're still talking about these games. We're still playing these games, and these games are over 20 years old. You know what I mean? That's a testament to how good Capcom, how they hit that home run over 20 years ago. But they obviously didn't hit that home run here with this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 or this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 based off of what we've seen thus far, because quite clearly no one is still playing this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. It was disposable, half-assed, and soulless. And the only longevity this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 had was through mod support. So if you didn't buy it on PC, which a lot of these fake Resident Evil fans that came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, they bought it on the PS4 because they're normies. They didn't even get the mod support, so the longevity was thrown out the window. So what does Capcom do? They pander to the fake Resident Evil fans that came, again, from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and now they've added in Project Resistance, which is basically what Resident Evil 3 is. It's not Resident Evil 3, it's not a remake, that's a side thing. That's definitely on the back burner. So they're pandering to the multiplayer crowd, the Fortnite crowd, that have now infested this franchise. Incredibly sad.
Yeah, definitely, man. And, the Twitter account of Resident Evil, they had actually posted 2 new masterminds and 2 new maps for Project Resistance. And that pissed me off, too, because I had told you guys that I had pre-ordered the game just so I could let people know, hey, this is not where it's going to be at, man. Trust me. I'm going to fucking play it for you. It's going to be shit. And the fact that Capcom is not releasing gameplay footage, which we've all been asking for over a month now.
Yeah.
you know, it says everything you need to know.
Yeah, it's a huge.
I don't think this campaign's going to be good at all.
No, absolutely not. And they are so afraid to show this game. They're they're trying to suppress us. They're blocking us on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go even further than that. That's probably just the tip of the iceberg. But the fact that we've only seen 30 seconds or so of gameplay, that literally unbelievably sad.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm just having a bad time right now being a Resident Evil fan. You know, but again, it's no longer survival horror. You don't need to think or put your thinking cap on to solve puzzles. It's very linear. Shoot everything that's in sight, and you pass the game.
That's it.
That is all.
Yep. All streamlined. You just move forward. You shoot. If you have fun, that's what's considered great these days. You know, people don't care about, you know, features, mechanics, the nuts and bolts, the framework, how these games operate. It's all about graphic style and presentation. And, you know, the fake Resident Evil fans that have now infested this franchise, they look at these games and they say, oh, great graphics, Michael. Then they give it a 10 out of 10, or they don't even, you know, think for themselves. They can't even think for themselves. They, you know, let some other people think for them. So they go to IGN, they go to Resident Evil, these shills that will tell them what they want to hear. And then they have their little, oh my God, this is so great. They have these little impulse buys. And it's such a tragic moment for this franchise. I mean, the Project Resistance is such a spit in the face to us real Resident Evil fans who have been there since day one.
Yeah, man. Like I told you guys, I was the beta tester for it. It is not anything different from Dead by Daylight or Friday the 13th. It's the same concept. It's not hard. It's very easy. I pulled off. I should have been 17 escapes, but it happened to be 15. It's a fucking joke, man. I don't need this. This is not what I asked for.
Yeah.
So
Like
that's all I have to say.
It's really sad. Well, we appreciate you calling in. Thank you so kindly for the support, man.
Yeah, for sure. Take care.
Yeah.
Okay, I just checked the Resident Evil Twitter, and check this out. I don't know if you've seen this. This new map they've got for Resistance.
Yeah, the casino.
Looks like shit on the bottom of my shirt. That's not Resident Evil. That's not frightening.
It's Fortnite.
It's for babies.
Literally. I told you it's not a joke, it's not a meme. They came from Fortnite to this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, and now the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they are pandering to the fake Resident Evil fans who have now, unfortunately, infested this franchise.
This guy's been trying to call in for a while.
Hello, you are on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Yeah, I just wanted to just normally Ink again, just calling. Lately, in your comments, someone's been using the coronavirus as to banish all fake RE fans. Now, I just want to point this out because I've been looking at the news and it's claimed over 1,000 lives right at this moment, and it has infected over 60,000 people. Now, half of your people who watch your channel, they always say, oh, I hope the fake fans contract this virus. It's not a laughing matter.
Definitely not.
I agree that Resident Evil 3 looks good. Obviously, it has potential. If like, you remember Brad Vickers from the original?
Right.
Certainly.
Now, you remember how he died? Now, I'm hoping in the new one that actually make his death a bit more memorable.
Yeah, much more gruesome, you know.
Well, yeah, I understand because I'm watching your live feed right now. I can see that obviously the zombies can't go through the doors because that's how they are. But yeah, but a lot of people are insulting us fans, like us true fans.
Yeah,
Now,
well, I mean...
Yeah, I know people say we play Fortnite. Fortnite is trash. Fortnite can get in the bin for all I care.
Right.
And to all these people who are listening, right, if they can hear me, the coronavirus is no joke. How would you like it if these two, Michael Does Life and his mate got caught the virus? You wouldn't be spewing or laughing about it, would you? You will be concerned.
I don't know about that, man. You know, this day and age, people, I think people lack empathy.
Like, with me, I lost two of my best friends because of this virus. And they were hardcore fans.
Damn.
So
Yeah,
when I see people mock this virus, is it how can you be so heartless? Well, why would you? It's just sad.
Yeah,
But I'm sorry if I put this on your channel, but the way people are commenting in your comments, it's going to literally ruin your channel.
Well, I can't help how people comment. You know, that's on them. If they have something to say, that's I can't. You know, I'm doing the live show here. I can't moderate the chat. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. But
Right.
like I said, if Resident Evil 3 does good, then I'll take my hat off to him. But obviously, that remains to be seen.
It does.
As the saying goes, it's nothing set in stone yet.
Yeah, for sure, man. But I personally think, unfortunately, it's going to outsell the all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. Like, let's get down to brass tacks. It's got multiplayer elements.
I don't know if you saw it. They released a channel called Score PN has released a video showing the new masterminds for the Resistance mode.
No, I didn't see that.
I really couldn't care less about Resistance mode. It doesn't exist to me. I don't have PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live. Not that I would play it even if I did. I mean, it just doesn't really matter to me. I'm obviously here for this, and even what they're showing us, you know, in this little glimpse of this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, quite clearly it's not where it needs to be. This is obviously a soulless cash grab. I mean, I hope it really does get delayed, you know, to be quite frank. So, for whatever reason, if it did get delayed because of the coronavirus, maybe honestly that would be a blessing in disguise, to be quite frank. I mean, this really does need more time in the oven.
It does, like, obviously, because from what I heard, this was in development at the same time when Resident Evil 2 was being made.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you have time to say, okay, maybe that didn't work in this all-new edition? It's being developed alongside. It's not like they had a lot of time to say, okay, we're going to improve upon that, you know, that aspect that a lot of people maybe didn't necessarily like in this all-new edition. It's like that none of that came into play, so it's essentially just going to be even a lesser experience than this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. People got to keep in mind that there's, you know, I don't think this one's developed mainly by Capcom. I think there's a third party involved. I'm not necessarily sure if they're just doing the multiplayer, but I believe they're doing also the regular portion of the game as well. So it's really hard to sit on here and say that this is going to be a home run, folks.
I even showed my mom the new trailer, and she said that it looked amazing as well. But because she remembers the original as well, and she was scared of that one, and my mom's 58.
Right. Well, that is the original is terrifying. It's scary. I mean, people are still talking about it, you know, over 20 years, you know, later, and that's a testament to how they hit that home run back when they cared. These days, they don't care. They're catering, pandering.
See, unlike these people who claim they are real fans, like half of them who keep saying that, like, obviously, you get some people who keep saying, wake up and smell the coffee, yet they're taking what you're saying and they're trolling people about it. Now, me, I've been an original fan since '96. I still, and obviously, my first experience was Resident Evil 1, like the original. Then, obviously, when Resident Evil 2 dropped, I was like, wow, they've actually stepped up. Like, they've actually done, like for instance, I'm watching the graphics now on your live feed. It looks amazing. But come on, what they pulled off in '98 was amazing.
Yeah, it was substance over style, and now it's style over substance.
See, I can tell you about both big time gamers. See, me, I appreciate all games in any form. Like, if it's anything good, if it appeals to me, I'll play it. Regardless of how it looks, if it's a game that I'm into, then so be it, I'll play it.
Right. Well,
but I don't mind games. If it's something interesting, then yeah, play it. If it's something crap, then no, you don't have my money. End of.
Right.
Exactly.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, man.
Alright, you two take it easy.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Hello, you're on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Sounds like we're talking to a computer.
Another technical difficulty. Well, we're going to have to pass on your call until you. Hello.
Hook us up with.
We've got to shut that one down because, again, you can call us on Skype. By the way, if you're just joining us, blocked on Twitter from the official Resident Evil Twitter for basically just saying delay the game. That's it. You can go to my Twitter and look at my replies, and you can see that's all I said to them. And it wasn't like, every single day I was saying that to them. It was literally once a month in the span of 3 months. So three
Incredible.
times.
Incredible.
And they said, well, we're going to shut you down because you're a hater, Michael. No, I'm critical because I care. You want to sit there and say, oh, Michael, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 was a home run. No, it wasn't. Just because IGN told you it was doesn't mean that it is. And quite clearly this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 is obviously not where it needs to be. They're so reluctant to show off gameplay.
Yeah.
Bro, today's Valentine's Day. What a great tease would it have been to say, okay, little Valentine on, Valentine's Day, something in relation to Jill Valentine. Not even a teaser or gameplay, just something small, like a new screen of Jill in kind of a meaningful way, but just nothing. Complete total silence yet again. So what is going on here with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3? I don't know, but I really hope they seriously consider slamming the brakes on. I really hope they seriously consider delaying this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, because quite clearly, and I know you're going to sit there and say, oh, Mackie, you sound like a broken record, but bro, this is quite clearly not where it needs to be. You can disagree, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean really that you're right, okay?
And it doesn't, People just don't like hearing facts, the truth,
Yeah.
honesty.
Well,
It's like-
that's why Capcom blocked us.
Well,
I don't know about you, but they blocked
eventually
me.
they will block.
Yeah, they'll be hunting you down next just for nothing, because we're critical because we care, brutally critical because we care. That's why we talk about these games. I don't know how many people came here, but you look at the description on my channel and it literally says, an independent games channel. We're critical, and that's what the whole intent of the channel is. We're critical over these games because maybe they're not necessarily in the right spot. There's plenty of games that I've never talked about here on this channel because there's games that I just don't care about, like Anthem, for example. I don't care about that, but I could have hated on that game, to make a quick buck. But I didn't care in the first place. I care about these games. And Capcom says, oh, Michael, oh, Michael. Hello, you're on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Hello? Is
Hello.
this Mike?
Yeah.
Hey, wait, is this... Hold on. I need to turn off the other chat. Michael?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, man, I've been following your stuff for a really, really, really long time. I'm also an OG Resident Evil fan. I've seen other fake 97ers or other fake 96ers that are telling us to just move on and grow the fuck up and get with the times, but honestly, I played this game since I was a little ass kid, like having nightmares about Nemesis and all that. I used to speedrun this shit. I used to, dude, tank controls are not that difficult. People need to fucking get over that shit, alright? If they can get over fixed camera angles and tank controls, we would have had something like a 2019, 2020, like, fixed camera angles with, like, amazing pre-rendered backgrounds that look way better than the graphics today.
Oh, absolutely.
The way that they had the pre-rendered backgrounds back in 2002 was already like 10, 12 years ahead of its time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. They, still hold up to this day.
imagine if shit is like fucking 4K today, right?
Holy shit.
Pre-rendered backgrounds today would look more advanced than that.
I think it would literally be a real life almost. I mean, I think it would be 20 years ahead of its time, to be frank, if they did it today in that style.
Pretty
Absolutely.
much.
Yeah, and people are trying to say like, oh no, like honestly, over the shoulder, you can't really immerse yourself in the atmosphere because they're constantly shifting the camera and shit just for the person to aim. But
Yeah, it's an action
yeah,
shooter.
people need to get over tank controls. It's not even that fucking difficult. Like,
Well,
the sad thing is, I aced Resident Evil 4 on professional mode back in 2005 when it was on PS2 and GameCube. And since then, every single other over-the-shoulder Resident Evil game has been fucking easy. I played the Resident Evil 2 remake last year when it came out. I fucking beat it. I saved over like 12 times, and they still gave me a B+. I was like, what the fuck? If this is the old school Resident Evil, they would not give you a B+ for saving like 12 times or some shit like that. And I beat it on hardcore. It wasn't even that difficult.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I just needed to rant a little bit, but I wanted to ask you your personal opinion. Like, seeing Nemesis and Mr. X chase you through doors, fixed camera angle style, rather than over the shoulder. Because remember how the Crimson Heads, they can just break through the doors in the first remake?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if it was like Nemesis or Mr. X doing that. It would have been way more terrifying because you have less control of the camera.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're not 100% aware of your surroundings, and sometimes what you don't see is scarier than what you do see, and you have to rely on the sound and kind of the mood, the vibe, the atmosphere. Whereas with the fixed, the over-the-shoulder third-person perspective, you're much more aware of your surroundings, and then as such, Capcom, they have to kind of do these cheap little jump scares to terrify the player, and that's all they have to really do. That's all they can do because of that new perspective, because it caters to the shooting style. That's what Resident Evil is. It's an action shooter that wants to be the survival horror experience these days. But unfortunately, that's the way the cookie crumbles for Capcom anyway these days.
Yeah, and I don't know. Did you ever watch that press conference, that dinner on Capcom's YouTube channel, where all the staff was having like this big grand dinner, and they're all like bragging about how they beat the original with the second Reimagine game. I don't like to call it remake. Reimagine game. Like that entire staff was just fucking bragging. Like, oh yeah, we did this and that and this and that way better than the original. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, yeah.
There's so many problems with the fucking remake. I mean, or Reimagine game. There was like so many issues. The story was weak. Leon and Claire never interacted at all. The scenarios were just absolute trash. No one even bothered to mention that Mr. X was more prominent and popular than William Birkin. William Birkin is the final fucking boss, but he was so unmemorable, and everyone's just so fixated on Mr. X. But that's not the way that they set the tone in the original Resident Evil 2. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, man. It's like they shoehorned William Birkin into this, and I thought he was...
They made him a cuck.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Mr. X.
Yeah, dude. It's sad. That's one of my favorite bosses I've ever fought in a Resident Evil game. It's like, what the hell happened?
Yeah. Honestly, it's hard to find a lot of the OG, like the true OG Resident Evil fan. Like, we're like basically being like kind of shut down on YouTube, and like if there's one of us, it's gonna be 20 of the other newer Resident Evil fans like talking shit. It's honestly, it's scary. You can't even really share your opinion out there because you're going to get shut down like social media style.
Yeah, you will, literally, yeah. If you were to say this on Reddit, if you were to say this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 wasn't where it needed to be, like it would be downvoted, it'd probably be deleted. Anywhere else either, like, Twitter, they wouldn't like that there, any other gaming forum. I mean, it's just really sad. It's so, you can't even be critical over these games because you're labeled as a hater, and I was blocked on Twitter, blocked by the official
stupid,
Resident
dude.
Evil.
That's fucking dumb as fuck.
Yeah, it really does. It's unfortunate, but, it is what it is, I guess.
Alright, well, thanks for having me be on here. I donated some money earlier, but, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. Keep working it, because us real Resident Evil fans, we're out here, we're just kind of in the shadows. We're older now, we have jobs, some of us have families, some of us are not living anymore, but, like, the real Resident Evil fans, the original fixed camera angle, Shinji Mikami style, we're around. We're just busy as hell. And all these kids that are like all like techie and on social media and YouTube, like, yeah, they come in bigger numbers, but that doesn't mean shit. So just wanted to share that. Thanks.
Absolutely. We appreciate your support. Thank you so kindly.
Yeah, that was KT in the chat.
Oh, really?
He's been real supportive.
Damn. I was wondering who it was.
Yeah, man. No, it's it is incredibly sad, but it's indicative of the times, and it's more funny to me at this point than anything, because they've trampled on this franchise for quite a while now. Resident Evil 7, Biohazard, I'd say it hit that mark. It wasn't fantastic.
Well, here's the thing, at least Capcom, they put their foot forward and they said, let's do something different. Maybe it wasn't where exactly it needed to be, but they put their foot forward and said, okay, let's try this. Let's detach ourselves from, the previous storylines and all of that stuff. Do this little hillbilly stuff, sort of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, in a totally different perspective for Resident Evil. A first-person perspective for a survival horror game isn't necessarily anything new, but with Resident Evil 7, with the Resident Evil franchise, it was a different perspective. It was a unique perspective for Resident Evil, and again, it wasn't perfect, but at the same time, at least they tried. At least they said, let's do something different with this franchise. Now they're going back, and they are literally just destroying greatness. That's what they're
Exactly.
doing.
They had a vision with Resident Evil 7. With Resident Evil, the all-new edition of Resident Evil 3, they looked at a beautiful
it's the C
painting.
team. The C team's on this one. You know what I mean? But I really hope the fake Resident Evil fans have not influenced what is going on with Resident Evil 8. You know, we've been hearing rumors about what's going on with that. Maybe it's scrapped, maybe it's not. Who knows? But I just hope they sincerely stick with their original vision. Screw the fake Resident Evil fans. And because the fake Resident Evil fans, they don't want that first-person perspective. They want this, over-the-shoulder, third person, where you shoot anything that moves. And that's all they want to do because, again, they want these action shooters. First-person perspective is a little bit more interesting because it's much more in your face. It's much more of a crazy, just intimate experience. And it's much more lenient on a more survival horror kind of,
Yeah, you see,
experience.
if Rockstar, the best in the world at what they
best
do,
in the world.
if they got their hands on this franchise, let's just say for fun, they would make it so you could go between first person, third person, and fixed
Yeah,
camera.
you would have it all right then. Problem solved, Hello, you are on the air with world-class veteran video game critic.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I hear you. Oh, okay. I'm just here to...
Enigma ST Gimmicks donated $5 through Super Chat. The Black Tiger from Resident Evil was done so good, but now Capcom cutting enemies is so sad for us real Resident Evil.
Thank you, Enigma. I appreciate the support. Yeah, the cutting enemies is really incredibly sad.
That is presented in that
Thank you again.
new edition, is inspired by, Alice from the films. Some people don't agree, but I'm gonna give them some reality check because that Jill that we have here in that new edition is have been they hired a model, a Russian model called her name on internet is Shizolotova. It's official. If you search for Shuzolotova, I'm sorry for it's quite weird, but if you search for Shuzolotova on internet, you can search on Google Images. You're gonna get a bunch of images. You're gonna get her photos, and she looks like exactly she's like the twin sister of Jovovich from the film.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's obvious. What they did with that model is that they save some money by not hiring Jovovich, and they make with that they make a wink to the film's fan crowd. They try to gather a lot of different crowds of.
Okay, I think what that call was trying to
we
say.
understood the point.
I think what they were trying to say was, this is basically inspired by Alice from the movies.
hell yeah, 'cause
which
that's good
Alice
line.
is fucking garbage. I'm gonna
Throw that down the drain.
fucking trash.
But they're bringing Resident Evil to Netflix. They're going to start production soon on that.
You know what? I hope they don't.
Well, they will.
Ugh, man, this is a bad time for
It is.
Capcom Resident Evil.
It is.
Let's-
That's why we need to support Shinji Mikami and what he's doing with that Ghost game. I know we don't know much about it, but Jesus Christ. You know, that sounds more interesting than whatever the hell lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom are cooking up here. I mean, this is just my oh my, obviously not where it needs to be.
It's like they've defeminized Jill Valentine. She's no longer a badass. You know, smaller boobs, no skirt. It's like, you know, it's a man. Let's be honest here. That's a guy. Probably has a wiener, you know. But
well, yeah. Then they put the you know, they put what you want behind a paywall. You want the classic iconic outfit for Jill that shows maybe a little bit more skin. You know, you got to pay for that. You got to say Capcom shut up. You got to play the shut up and take my money game right now with Capcom. You pre-order it, you get that. You know, that's behind the paywall. Just like in this all new edition of Resident Evil 2, if you wanted the classic soundtrack, you had to pre-order the game as well. You know, and some of the costumes. You wanted the Rick Grimes sheriff thing, then you had to pre-order this all new edition of Resident Evil 2 to get that.
I was hoping they got sued for that, man. That was straight
Yeah,
up
like a blatant ripoff, like Jesus.
Yeah, but it's funny, you know. This is more of a Fortnite game than anything. Now that I remember the costumes and shit, the aesthetics, it is a Fortnite game.
Oh, absolutely.
This is for the Fortnite crowd.
Absolutely.
I'll be shocked if
they're
there
catering.
isn't.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the new screens for Project Resistance, and it's really...
Dude, that casino looks like shit, man.
Well, have you seen the character? I mean, I had the trailer up earlier when I first started this live stream, but Jesus Lord. Like, it is so incredibly sad. Hello, you are on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Hello, Michael. It's me, your Brazilian friend again. How are you doing?
Hell yeah. You just called?
How Dylan's going? Is he alright?
Yeah, Dylan's fine.
I'm great, man. How are you?
Oh, good to know. Good to know. I want to talk to you guys one very important thing. Did you notice Capcom went completely silent about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3? There's no news, no game. Not a single gameplay online, nothing. They went completely silent. I think they took they noted the fan base. The fan base understand there's mixed. The game was mixed reception. The game got mixed reception from the fan base. I think there's a risk. They even delayed the game. What do you think?
Well, I don't know if they actually delayed the game, but I think they definitely need to slam the brakes on and definitely consider. You know, it's not where it needs to be, and the fact that they haven't shown us anything, only 30 seconds of gameplay, that is a huge red flag. It's very concerning.
Yeah, I agree. But I really think it's very strange Capcom's silence about this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. I think maybe there's a remote chance of this game being delayed. I think they already know something about the mixed reception. People, many people don't like this new Jill because she looks like a man. And Nemesis. Did you see? They even put hair on Nemesis' head. Did you see the artwork?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that, and man, my oh my! I really hope they're taking the feedback seriously. To be honest.
Yeah, and one last thing, I want you guys to know that many people, every single day, there are more and more people spreading your words. Okay, there's a lot of topics around the internet, over Reddit, over Steam forums, over Discord, and a lot of people are spreading your word. Okay?
Hell yeah! Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate the support.
That's all for now.
Absolutely.
Thanks, friends.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Good night. Have a good night, you all. Goodbye.
You know, people got to be careful these days using your name because, you know, you just got banned. You perma-banned from Resident Evil. You're totally blocked.
Well, that's, I mean...
You're never coming back. They'll never press that unblock button, bro.
No.
And to use your name in, Steam and reviews and all this shit, you gotta be careful, because you get blocked when you try to speak the truth.
Right, yeah. You can't be critical these days. That's a thing these days. I don't know where this came from, but you can't be critical. You're labeled as a hater, you're labeled as, whatever. But that's fine. If Capcom wants to play this game, if they want to be just assholes to real Resident Evil fans, they're not going to get my hard-earned money again. So, I'm probably not going to be reviewing this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 because I'm not buying the game, and quite clearly Capcom ain't sending it to me, so there's no way for me to even get it, right? Not that I would have gave them my hard-earned money anyway, because they didn't give me a reason to be there day one. But now that they blocked me, literally I'm done giving any money to Capcom from here on forward. It's just incredibly sad. So anyone expecting a review, it's not really looking too good, because fuck them, screw Capcom. Screw whoever's in charge of that page, to be frank. And I think I know who it is. I think it's some community manager. I think she's got a bone to pick with the real Resident Evil fans. It's incredibly sad. I swear, I think people should go over to the Twitter and just see, how many. I don't know. All I said was delay the game, and that seemingly was enough to trigger who owns that page and say, well, you're out. So
The proof is there, man.
Yeah.
I went to the page a few minutes ago and looked, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, like if you were to type in delay the game, I wonder if you would receive the same treatment.
Hey, you know what?
I'm not saying do it, but honestly, this all new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 quite clearly needs more time in the oven. You know what I mean? It really does need more time in the oven, to be quite frank. That's not me saying I hate the game. It's me saying, bro, we're critical because we care. I don't know how you fake Resident Evil fans can't wrap your head around that idea. It's really just not where it needs to be. Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for subscribing. Really do appreciate the support. Blocked. So Dylan's going to try the experiment.
Yeah, I just
You're on Twitter?
I tweeted at them on their newest
Yeah, delay
post.
the game. All Dylan said was delay the game. Well, we're just going to see if that's... All I said was delay the game. That's literally all I said. And I said it once, once a month. So in the span of 3 months, when they posted new information, I just said maybe delay the game. It's not where it needs to be. And that's just my opinion. It's not me being I don't know. So I think it's more than that, though, Dylan. I think they saw the videos. They're seeing what we're doing. They're seeing this sort of movement. The real Resident Evil fans aren't necessarily in tune and tick with what the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom are doing. And as such, they are afraid. They are they're so petrified that we're exposing this. We are literally, no one has done this. No one has taken this and actually broke it down here. That's what we're doing. This is literally in the trailer. And the reason why I'm breaking this down is because when I was watching the trailer normally, I saw that little odd jump, little animation transition there, and I said, whoa, now we got to blow that up, slow it down, and we have to put that on blast. Because if we don't, how is it going to be fixed? If no one detects that, then how are they going to know to fix it? You know what I mean? So again, we're here because we care. We want to help Capcom. We want to put this franchise back on the right track. I don't know how you fake Resident Evil fans that have now invested in this franchise, I don't know how you can't see that.
Yeah, man, it's incredibly sad, but the thing is, it's good there are people like you who are willing to put themselves, at risk, to be blocked and to be criticized and called a contrarian, because this ain't good. This is bad. This is a poor animation right here. And
that's why they're so afraid, they're so petrified to show off more gameplay, because they don't want us to go through it, because believe me, this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's not necessarily about this little animation transition. It's more about the principle behind it. If this is already showing in the trailer, not pure gameplay, then I can't even imagine, how many more bugs and just things that aren't going to necessarily work, that are going to be, all throughout this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. It's really not going to be where it needs to be. Hello, you are on the air with world-class veteran video game critic Michael Does Life.
Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing good.
So you're the fella who does all these streams on the YouTube about Capcom and Resident Evil. Am I right?
Well, yeah, I'm one of them.
Yes, yes. Well, to be honest, now I'm an older fella, but I hadn't played much of the Resident Evil series up until Resident Evil 2, the remake, and I went back and I played the original Resident Evil 2 on the PSN. And you know what? They really cut a lot out of that. And I'm a little bit cautious about Resident Evil 3. I will say that I've marathoned the remake of 2 quite a bit. I've played both scenarios, both times with both of the characters. But I do think that the original, the tank controls and all that, they were a bit more complex, and it's just disappointing to me that with all the modern, conveniences of gaming and everything that we have nowadays, and all the ways that you can interact with the environments, it's like, why didn't they take some of that complexity and put it in the remakes? I mean, I feel like the remake of 1 was, I don't think it's a replacement for the original Resident Evil from '96, but it's a good sort of, add-on. And I don't know what, I guess their philosophy just changed,
Yeah, I think once Shinji Mikami was out at Capcom, I think that's ultimately when it really it could never recover. I mean, Resident Evil 4 was that game that ultimately changed the franchise forever, but you look back on it and you say, man, that might have been almost the beginning of the end. I mean, they just have never been able to recover, to be quite frank. And this franchise is really in some, it needs to be just in a better place, in a better spot than it currently is right now.
Well, you think there's any hope? One of the things I really enjoyed the last few years was that Alien Isolation.
Yeah, great game, man. Very scary. Survival horror at its finest, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, you keep on kicking ass. I'm sorry you got banned or blocked or whatever on the Twitter, but I don't know. That's just one facet. They can't keep you from speaking your mind.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you for calling.
Take care now.
Absolutely, appreciate you.
Yeah, finally someone mentions a decent stab at the survival horror genre.
Yeah.
I would almost classify that as horror.
There's definitely some really tense moments in that game. You gotta strategically move throughout that game.
You know how I feel about that game.
You can't even play.
Unplayable for me because I'm a baby when it comes to that alien. When you can't kill what's coming at you, it's almost like, it's not like Mr. X. Oh, go unconscious when you shoot me. Several times.
And you know what they're gonna do with Nemesis, like. In the original, you shoot down Nemesis, there's, purple blood that comes out, he drops an item.
Yeah, a little bit of ammunition or whatever.
Whatever there might be. Well, it's going to be a Mr. X copy and paste in terms of, okay, he's going to kneel down real quick, then you have time to move, jump into another little corridor, and things of that nature. I mean, it's just really, how can you look at this? Like, guys, there's no gameplay. We have more gameplay of Last of Us Part 2, Cyberpunk, Avengers, Final Fantasy Remake. We have more gameplay of all of those games than we do this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. If I had a red flag, I would get it out right now and say, holy shit, we have a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Some of those games are delayed beyond like a year from now, man. Avengers, I think that's a 2021 title.
It probably will be.
And, oh man, the cracks are indeed starting to show, man.
Dude, this is all we have. Snippets of gameplay. They are so reluctant to show up more gameplay. And surely, hopefully, this changes soon. Maybe this upcoming week they pull that curtain back and show us, more gameplay. I need, something from the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom to say, ultimately, what in the shit's going on here? What are we really getting with this package? Because right now, based off of what I'm assessing here, it's really not looking too good, to be quite frank. And I'm honestly hoping for the best, but I have a feeling that I don't think they're going to be able to really hit that home run. To be quite frank, I mean, after all, we're talking about the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom. They are in the position where they don't have to bust their ass. They have to sit there and make things work and make things happen. Quite clearly, the detail, the depth, just the soul, lost, gone.
It's
the
a
detail.
guaranteed purchase for some people.
Yeah.
Some people don't care.
I bet the pre-orders, it was already a bestseller on Amazon a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. Already a bestseller, 30 seconds of gameplay. Holy shit, that's disgusting.
They need to at least release 15 minutes of solid gameplay.
Today they could have put out something in relation to Jill Valentine. Not even just something.
And yet they post the same GIF they've had going on for like months now.
Or they're just going to talk more about Project Resistance, like,
screw that crap.
That is
I don't.
trash, garbage.
Okay, let's say I got the game for free somehow. Just somebody gave me a copy. I wouldn't even touch Project Resistance because I know it's going to be filled to the brim with babies.
I would rather play Fortnite. I'm not even joking.
I would
rather play Fortnite than Project Resistance.
I'd rather sit in the dark, to be honest.
And in Project Resistance, they have that little thing where you can play zombies on the map. Bro, that's a blatant ripoff of Zombie U.
Zombie
U
man.
for the Wii U, specifically that version. And that version, it has a co-op multiplayer component, local, I think. I don't know if it's online. I know it's local because I played it. Where if someone has the tablet, they can look at the map and they can drop the zombies and they can see where the player is on the tablet. And then if you're playing with the standard controller or what have you, you have to fight your way through the zombies. It's cool. It's interesting and unique, especially for that, consoles for the time. But that's literally what Capcom is doing with Project Resistance in terms of that mode.
See,
it's a blatant ripoff.
Yeah, dude, it's not even just a blatant ripoff. It's a carbon fucking copy. These poor babies, these lazy millennial devs are carbon copying. It's like with the all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. They just copied and pasted when it comes to Mr. X and Nemesis. There was no work there.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything new. Prove it. Show us some gameplay.
Show us. Stop telling us.
Something.
Start showing. Stop telling us that it's so much better, and start showing us. Okay, this is so much better. They want to sit there and say, "Oh my God, Michael, the Nemesis AI is so improved," and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, you can talk and talk and talk. We have 30 seconds of gameplay. You guys need to start talking over at Capcom. Go to Capcom's Twitter, go to the Resident Evil Twitter, and start telling them we need to see gameplay. That's what needs to happen. We have to start speaking. Because right now.
MR donated $1 through Super Chat. Project Resistance failed in Re6 PvP.
Yeah, I didn't. RE6 PvP.
I don't know much about that.
Yeah, I never dived into that crap.
Maybe what he's saying. I didn't get that deep into that.
I don't even know if it. I don't even know. It was a trash Resident Evil 6, Jesus Christ.
It was the Call of Duty
what a nightmare.
of Resident Evils.
There are too many cooks in the kitchen.
Weapons.
Three different campaigns. You have Jade campaign or whatever the hell that bullshit is. You have Chris. Literally, holy shit.
Yeah. Ada Wong, I think, was an extra they added in later. But I can't really remember because the game was so shit. Leon Kennedy's was interesting. Jake, the son of Wester.
Right.
It was interesting. He did the boss battles, but Chris Redfield, he was the Call of Duty guy. He went in full blasted fucking, automatic weapons, and the zombies or whatever the hell they are, Las Plagas, shooting back at him with automatic weapons. What did they do? They trampled Resident Evil. And what is happening here? I think we're going back in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what they're going to do.
It's a dark road,
It's a success for them. That's all they see. They want to, keep their investors happy. So what do? They just pander to. And by the way, thank you so kindly for that super chat. I really do appreciate the support all throughout this stream. It's been really incredible from all those who have called in, supported the show with super chat, and it's again, we care. They want to block us, they want to suppress, they want to sit there and go, "Oh, Mac, you're the hater. Resident Evil has blocked me as well on Twitter." I don't know why these people think we're hating and this, that, and the other. Bro, we care. That's why we're on here doing this. We're showing Capcom that, hey, maybe this needs to be fixed. Because if no one says that, then how is this going to be fixed? Do you want this in your game? Do you want that slight, weird, awkward animation transition in your game? If the answer is no, then you should be really ultimately thanking us because we're bringing this up so that the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom can see that and rectify that situation. How do you not understand that? How do you fake Resident Evil fans not understand that? It just does not make sense to me. You know, we're pointing out the flaws. The game has flaws, okay? Don't sit there and act like these games are perfect. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 and this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil, 3. They're not perfect, folks. The cracks are indeed starting to show. We've shown you this, how they've devolved. You know, callers have said that. The real Resident Evil fans, the support is definitely there. It's just we're basically the voice of the voiceless because you can't, say this stuff anywhere online. You're going to get blocked, you're going to get banned, you're going to get suppressed. You go on Reddit, the Resident Evil Reddit, the Discord, wherever else you say these things, maybe this isn't where it needs to be or what have you. Blocked, banned, suppressed, whatever. That's literally what will happen. I'm sure if you shared the link to this live stream on Resident Evil Reddit, they would literally delete that. They would. They would literally delete that and say, okay, well, this guy's a hater and this, that, and the other. And it's like, dude, we're critical because we care. That's the entire sort of philosophy here with this channel. We're critical because we care. You want to sit there and go, oh, Michael, you're nitpicking. But it's like, dude, how can they fix this if no one steps up and says, maybe this isn't where it needs to be? I don't understand how you guys can't see that. It doesn't make sense. You fake Resident Evil fans. Fake Resident Evil fans love to misdirect and troll. You're always a surprise Pikachu. Resident Evil 2, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 was a huge flop. Oh, absolutely.
As far as sales, I'm not sure about that, but it was definitely a huge flop when it comes to a...
Well, sales don't dictate quality. We know, and let's get real here. Justin Bieber sells a lot of records, okay? Now, I know you guys don't like Justin Bieber, right? But Justin Bieber sells a lot of records. We know Justin Bieber's a great musician, but here's the thing. You don't agree. So you're using the philosophy of, okay, it sells well, therefore it's great. Then why don't you think that way about Justin Bieber? Because Justin Bieber sells a lot of records. It's time for you fake Resident Evil fans to wake up and smell the coffee. You want to sit there and boast about the numbers. Oh, this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 is so better than the original. Well, gee, it should. It's out on about 1,000 platforms. The original Resident Evil 2, PlayStation, you know what I mean? Gaming isn't the best it's ever been. It's in the shitter. The cracks are starting to show, and it's not just with Resident Evil. You look at the PS5. You look at the Xbox Series X, and it's like, especially the PS5. You look at the PS5, we have nothing on that system. I really do think the coronavirus is coming into play there with the PS5. They're trying to manufacture the parts. They're trying to get all of that together. Now we're hearing word that it's going to be $450 at the very least. $450 for the PlayStation 5, and it could be way more, $500, $600. Why should we upgrade? Show me the software. Show me why I should buy your box. And that's the Sony fanboys. They need a reality check. They need a reality check. It's going to be so incredibly laughable when the PS5 gets announced and the price point is going to be just so expensive.
Well, they're waiting for Xbox, They're trying to do that shady ass shit. I'm not interested. Okay, you remember I did buy a PS4, but I returned that shit within 4 days because I just did not give a shit.
Yeah, you wanted to play PT and that was about it.
I played PT and that was juicy, man. That was a juicy game. Survival horror at its finest. The best game to never be released.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you have a PS4, why would you upgrade to PS5 if they have no exclusives? Because they said they're going to go down that road as well. It's like, okay, we're going to have games for both PS4 and PS5. So, if you want to play Watch Dogs Legion, you don't have to obviously buy a PS5 to play that. You can still play it on your PS4, what have you. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some exclusives like Horizon Zero Dawn. Who wants to play that? Another Ubisoft open world clone that brings ultimately nothing new to the table. These Sony fanboys want to sit there and play these, movie games. And it's like, dude, that whole formula is getting so tiresome at this point. They're taking all of these franchises and just copying and pasting the Last of Us formula. And that's what they did to God of War.
Yeah, that's an unpopular opinion. These movie games, they bore the shit out of me.
It's fine to have a cinematic experience. Rockstar's been doing it for a long time, but they they find balance between cinematics and gameplay, and they seamlessly, transition that. But it's different with the Sony movie games. Believe me, it is. Yeah, they can seamlessly transition gameplay into cutscenes as well. But believe me, the whole ethos over there at Sony is to make these movie games. They want to make movies. They don't want to make video games. The interactability of those games really ultimately comes into question. You know, you want to replay God of War now? The answer is probably no. You know, so the replayability, the longevity of those games really does come into question because it's not really. They're just interactive movies essentially. I mean, that's what they're kind of getting more and more into.
Yeah, they're pretty games. I'm not gonna lie, they're fucking beautiful. But I do not play a game to look at it. Okay, God of War, I watched hours of someone play it over at my buddy's house. I don't care. It is boring. You know, I watched the combat too. I'd rather play the old God of Wars, and I do not like beat 'em up games, man. It's sad where this is taking us, but I guess with The Last of Us being such a big hit and. I did enjoy that game for being a movie game, but now it's like oversaturated the market. And this all new edition of Resident Evil 2, I mean, honestly, as far as a movie game goes, they missed the mark. It's really sad.
Well, in terms of gameplay too, I mean, it's really not where it needed to be. This is garbage. It's literally Resident Evil is becoming Call of Duty. Resident Evil, like they're almost annual. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 came out last year. This all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3 is coming out this year. We've heard rumors about a new Resident Evil game possibly coming out before Resident Evil 8 next year.
Jeez.
So then, I mean, literally, yeah, it's literally Call of Duty. Every year you get a Call of Duty. Every year you might now get a Resident Evil title. So it's like, Jesus Lord.
And I bet this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, I bet it's going to be under 5 hours. I bet.
Oh, hell yeah. This all-new edition of Resident Evil 2, the speedrunners can complete that in literally under 50-something minutes, or about 50-something minutes.
I'm not even talking about speedrunning, man. I'm just...
right.
A casual, going through the game.
Well,
it's going to be sad.
Well, Resident Evil 7 is a longer game than this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. Speedrunners take longer with Resident Evil 7 than they do with this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2. So you can see the trend already. And with this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3, obviously Project Resistance is the focus. That's what they want you, that if they didn't have that mode in there, literally I don't think anyone would buy this, It's such a sad situation. It's such a tragic situation where this franchise is at today. But, if Resident Evil comes out tomorrow and they make a video about, how great this is, people are going to just eat it up. It's like IGN telling you 10 out of 10. They're going to shill. I'm not saying everyone's disingenuous, but Jesus Christ, if you're in bed with Capcom, just know that if they're going to send you free things, you're probably going to put a smile on your face, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. So we don't play for any of that over here, obviously.
No.
If we did, we would have shut the whole thing down because we got blacklisted from Capcom. They said we can't handle the heat, so they ran out of the kitchen and they sealed the door. So we're stuck in the kitchen now, you know what I mean? And they ran off like little chickens because the lazy millennial devs over at Clueless Capcom, they just can't handle it. They don't understand. Said that Resident Evil 7 is better than this whole new edition. Yeah, Resident Evil 7, like we said earlier, like it was a step. Capcom put their foot forward. And maybe they didn't hit that home run. You can go back and watch my videos on Resident Evil 7. I didn't like it, especially at the time. But now looking back on it, I'd say, maybe there was something a little bit more to it than I initially thought. I'm not saying it's a great experience, but at least it was an interesting one. This going back and destroying greatness with these remakes, they're not even remakes, but going back and doing these in the wrong way, that's a spit in the face, I mean, here's the thing. Like, you fake Resident Evil fans need a reality check, and I'll tell you this right here and right now. Capcom has already remade Resident Evil 2. They did it in 2009. There's an on-rail shooter game called Dark Side Chronicles. It's like House of the Dead, but Resident Evil.
Oh.
And they have a Resident Evil 2 segment in there, and it's very faithful. You go through the Kendo gun shop, everything's familiar. You go through the basketball court. But, it wasn't a remastered version, by the way, because it was obviously built from the ground up. But it was much more faithful. If you're going to remake it, that's how it should have been done. So Dark Side Chronicles, the Resident Evil 2 segment in that, wish I could show it on here, but the Resident Evil 2 segment in that game literally is better than this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2 in terms of being more faithful. And it's way, way more in line with what should have been done here with this all-new edition of Resident Evil 2.
Speaking of that, the recreation and dreams of Resident Evil 2, fantastic, a beautiful piece of art, and it's almost like the gamers know what's better than these millennial devs who are just scumming up the company. It's incredible, But I guess sales dictate quality to them. To me, I could care less about the numbers. It doesn't matter if a game makes $1 or $1 billion. This is a mistake.
And the new Nemesis voice, someone just commented
Junk.
about that. Holy shit!
It's...
Bro.
What did they do?
They didn't do anything. It's so incredibly bad. How do you not get that right? How hard is it to go back to the old, voice file that I'm sure they have in the archives and pay the guy who did it back in the day? And if he's dead, just pay his family or what have you. I don't know. I mean, how hard is it to do that? Why make oh my God, it's so bad.
Oh, man.
I'm not even exaggerating. Like, it really sounds like trash.
And speaking of trash, Nemesis looks like garbage. He is garbage, okay? When I first seen the face and stuff, I was like, "Ugh, I hope that's just like, concept art."
A little fan thing.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And it turned out, that's what we get. And we're stuck with it forever. That can never be changed. Unless the modders pick up the ball where the developers are dropping it. But, I'm not a guy who messes with mods. I don't care. I'm a console gamer. I'm not into that crap. I want this back. When we used to just put in a disc, the game was done. No patches, no downloads, no bullshit.
Well, that's long gone. Everything's live, everything's a service. Well, everyone's asking about, some people are asking about Silent Hill in the chat, and I will say Silent Hill 1 is probably overlooked. And I also like, and I know this is going to piss off the Silent Hill fans.
Yeah.
Shattered Memories, really unique, interesting vision with that game. But I know it doesn't, people want to sit there and say, it ain't a Silent Hill game. Look, it was a breath of fresh air for that franchise. And I really love, especially on the Wii, I don't know about PS2 or PSP, but I know on the Wii, the interactability with picking things up and interacting with them, the whole psychology thing, all of that was very interesting and unique, and it made for a fresh experience. So I think that's one of my favorite Silent Hill games, and I know it's going to piss the Silent Hill fan base off, but Silent Hill Shattered Memories, and then the first Silent Hill game is definitely overlooked. Everyone talks about Silent Hill 2, and I'm getting sick and tired of hearing about that game, because you go back to the Silent Hill 1, and it's like, damn, that has some really awesome moments, and especially that soundtrack. I can't listen to that soundtrack. It's legitimately terrifying.
Dude.
Holy shit. Go back and listen. YouTube it right now. Silent Hill 1 soundtrack, and there's moments in there with sirens and shit, oh my God. Especially that memorable opening sequence in Silent Hill 1 on PS1, where you go into the alley, and then you basically go into hell, and it's like, dude, has the fixed camera angles, but they're dynamic. They kind of follow the character, and it's like, wow, this is so fucking... I can't play that game. It's so scary. So the limitations of the fog and all of that stuff, draw distance and what have you, that was a blessing in disguise.
Yo, man, that was a fantastic game, and I didn't play it until years and years later. I did play all the way through Silent Hill 2, and bro, now that is a game that I think everyone should try, and not these remasters. I heard the remaster was a debacle.
Yeah, on PS3 or 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah. But Silent Hill and Silent Hill 2, those are some of the best in survival horror. The best they offered, and it's so sad that Silent Hills, that was the peak of everything. It was the culmination of everything that company's done, and, something just bad happened. Bad blood, I don't know what, but I would love to see Silent Hill come back, because this franchise is ruining survival horror. They're turning it into this thing I cannot describe without, bringing up Fortnite or, online games. It's just incredibly sad. But nobody cares, and they never will.
No, they won't care. Dylan, you don't have to calm down. Capcom presents fake Resident Evil 3. Konami needs to burn to the ground. I feel like this is a cult. Are you insane? Silent Hill 4 was good. I don't know why people hate it. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. The
Silent
room
Hill,
concept.
the room. Dude, bro. When I first played that as a demo, I was like, I got to get this game. I know that was the first one that was made by Americans instead of, the original creators and stuff, but it was fantastic. I'm not going to lie. They really did something special there. The first-person mechanic in the apartment, and you're walking around your apartment, and it's like you're trying to get the attention of your neighbors and shit, and it's not working, but
That's... Just taking interesting leaps and different ideas. That shit needs to return. This, oh my god.
Dude, man,
It's like a Michael Bay horror movie, basically. Pure action, just created, designed for the masses to consume, and that's it. You don't have to put your thinking cap on, you know, you don't have to really think anymore. You put it on, and you just move forward and shoot anything that moves, and that's Resident Evil today. Resident Evil 3 OG was an action game. I mean, yeah. Well, no. Yeah, it was more action-oriented, I guess you could say, than the previous installments, but it was still survival horror at its core. Yeah, it was a little bit more action-y, but it doesn't mean that they have to go full Michael Bay here. You know, I don't know why they want to go down that road. I think it would be more interesting to say, okay, let's kind of maybe lessen up the action experience, you know, action up the action segments a little bit here in this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. That's what they should do, kind of go in a different direction. If you're going to remake it, which they're not doing, by the way, this is a remake, find that scene in the original game. Where the hell is that in the original game? Yeah, come on, it doesn't exist.
You know what? I'm not even so sure this will exist in the final copy. I think this crap is just slapped in there.
Well, I mean,
I don't even know. It's hard to believe anything I see these days. This is garbage. Literally garbage. But, you know, it's like the saying goes, don't try to fix something that's not broken. And the original, you know, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And that's the thing. The original is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. This is Resident Evil 3.
Oh.
I don't know what they're doing, man. But it's not good. And it's incredibly sad, but, you know. Nothing we can do but accept, you know, be critical. Be honest. Truthful about what we're seeing and the cracks that are obviously showing now.
The original game had a lot of flaws. Yeah, Jacob's trolling. Well, no shit. I mean, look,
that guy's been there the whole time.
Oh yeah,
he's, you know, attention slut. But, you know, that's fine. You'll always have people like that. These fake Resident Evil fans.
What you just said about looking for that scene in the original, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a remake. And
it's a total reimagining. It's a new game.
That's what a new game that's loosely inspired by 1999 Nemesis.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here. You want to sit there and disagree, that's fine. It doesn't mean that you're right at the end of the day. It's not a remake, folks.
Yeah, you're the contrarian, the fake Resident Evil fan. You've infested this franchise. It's sick.
Well, folks, I think we're going to wrap this up, folks. The calls have dried up. And we really do appreciate you for tuning in. It was one hell of a stream. We've been talking a lot, pushing really hard and really strong in the face of adversity. And again, thank you all so kindly for the support. We know the real Resident Evil fans are out there, and we will continue to do what we do best. We're critical because we care. We're not hating. We're not saying Capcom, you know, shut this down. But definitely Capcom, maybe consider taking a second look. We're here again because we care. We're real Resident Evil fans. We've been there since day one. It's unfortunate that the fake Resident Evil fans have infested this franchise. But again, we really do appreciate your support, all the kind things that were sent in Super Chat, and you know, the support just in general, viewing the stream, supporting the stream, and all of that jazz. You can check out Dylan's channel. I think he's put up actually a video on this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. And if you want to tell them more about that, you can go ahead and do that.
Oh, certainly. I just put in the chat a link to the video. But it's, I'm Dylan. My channel is Dylan in the Details. If you're interested, I'm going to support Michael in, you know, pushing really hard and really strong in the face of adversity. And it's, you know, we're going to do our best to be critical and honest.
Yeah. So definitely go check out Dylan's channel, see what he has to say in regards to this all-new upcoming edition of Resident Evil 3. Again, thank you so kindly for the support, and we will see you later. Take care.